I just finished watching episode 1 of season 2 of the One Piece live action adaptation. Now, there will be spoilers moving forward as I give my thoughts, and we will be doing this episode by episode, and maybe at the end we'll do one big compendium of all of them. So, with that being said, you have been warned, there will be spoilers and comparisons to the manga, most likely at least up to Dressrosa from what's in this episode. So, now as far as remixing information goes to package it more cohesively, I do like how we get the scene of Roger entrusting Ace to Garp. I like that before he's about to be executed. That's good. I like that a lot. I think that's a very good scene. Now, on top of that, moving through the scenes of the episode, Bartolomeo shows up, and I feel like this was leaked, but I don't remember. And he's throughout the episode. He shows up more than I thought he would. He leads Luffy to the gallows. Buggy meets him. There's a whole deal about him. And the makeup job is actually stupendous. Like more so than some of the main characters, which got me confused. Honestly, it's so confusing how well they portrayed him. The tattoos in the right place. Even the costume is accurate because it shows you what he looks like when he was still a mob boss. So yeah, no, everything is weirdly accurate. Now, what this does for the canon of things is kind of interesting because it was never stated when Bart got the barrier fruit. So I guess whenever this is in his timeline, supposedly fairly early because we know he was in Locktown. So he didn't have the devil fruit supposedly until perhaps he became a pirate. That's what I'm getting, which is just really interesting how that's all laid out. Another cool scene that I liked was the introduction of Sappy, and Sappy is the first fishman-human hybrid in the series. His makeup job is fantastic. He's the guy who sells Sanji the elephant tuna in the manga, and it's the same thing here, except Luffy is with him, which is odd, which leads to Luffy wandering off by himself. I like that we have Sappy. His makeup job is great. He gets some good characterization. I love that he's here. Very important lore point for races and hybrid races in One Piece. So I'm glad he's here. Another thing that's weird that I like, though, is that Alvida gets an actual fight in Logtown. And how she's defeated is also very smart because what happens is that in the manga, of course, she's defeated by Smoker along with the rest of the Buggy Pirates. But now what happened here is that you get a full fight scene with Zoro, Sanji, Nami, and Usopp against her and the Buggy Pirates. And Nami ends up fighting Alvida. But like in the earlier scene where Luffy punches Alvida, we get to see the slip fruit on full display, which is nice because it's a bit ambiguous in the manga and anime. So I'm glad we really get to see it on full effect here. And yes, she is impervious to most damage. So that's cool. I always love the fruit. I love Alvida. And the way how they defeat her is that they slide the shoes off of her, right? Nami uses her bow staff to swipe the shoes from under her feet because of course her feet are slippery. And then Usopp shoots her in the face with a pepper star. However, the star is blocked by Nami's bow staff, so it just explodes on contact in front of her face, and then her own sneeze propels her backwards into the tents. That's very interesting. That's good. I'm not sure how you actually defeat Alvida, like for real, with the slip fruit, but in the way that they set that up, I like that a lot. That's interesting. That's very cool. And throughout the entire episode, I will say Buggy steals the show. I do like that they gave him extended scenes. That's cool. But what's also kind of weird is that from what I'm gathering, it's funny how many filler characters are just around because, okay, the bar guy that Luffy meets, whom Roger spent his final moments with, right? That guy is actually in the episode. And this was a filler character. So I'm kind of interested as to why they added that. I think it's cool, but it's just odd. I like it though. I can't say I dislike it. And then I saw a woman who vaguely looks like that one woman that Sanji had a cook-off with the pink hair. I don't know if that's supposed to be her or not, but it looks like her. And she too is a filler character. So I think it's cool that filler characters were added into the episode. Now, the funny part that's actually missing is that the sword shop owner that Zoro gets Yabashiri and Sandai Kitetsu from doesn't have a wife. In the manga, he does, and in the anime, he does, but here he doesn't. And that's kind of odd. So I wonder why they cut her and added all these filler characters. It's a little weird, but it doesn't really change anything. Now, in addition, when talking about characters, it's very funny that we have Sabo here. You heard me right. Sabo's at the end of the episode. And I find that very funny because, of course, as you know, Dragon shows up to defeat Smoker like he does in the manga. Weirdly, we don't get to see the Jutei in action. The first example of Sea Stone is actually Sea Stone cuffs that Buggy puts on Luffy in order to chop off his head at the gallows, right? And it's never explained how the Sea Stone handcuffs come off of Luffy or anything like that, or even how he survived the lightning strike, because with the Sea Stone handcuffs on, he wouldn't be rubber. So that's weird. Oh, that's weird. Because in the manga and the anime, Buggy puts him in like a full vice that entraps his hands and head somehow. So it's weird that we got here through the use of Sea Stone. And the first example of Sea Stone was this and not the tip of Smoker's Jutei. That's weird. But in talking about Smoker, they make him the coolest man in the world. They really do. The Billoware bike looks great. The costume looks great. And he is defeated by Monkey D. Dragon like he is in the manga and the anime. What's super ambiguous, once again, here like it is in the manga and the anime, is how the wind is being produced by Dragon, but that is used to defeat Smoker. We still don't know what the actual powers of Monkey D. Dragon are. A lot of people for years, or as long as I've been reading the manga, have always said he had some sort of wind Logia fruit. But if you've read the manga and paid attention to some other things that have happened recently, that is becoming less and less likely as we move forward. I'm not going to get into what I think his fruit is. I've talked about that in many a video, but I don't think he's a Logia. I'll just say that. But the Logia powers as displayed by Smoker are really cool in this episode. I like how Sanji and Luffy try to fight him, but the visual effects of his smoke are really cool. One thing he does that he never does in the series is he asphyxiates Luffy with his smoke. Smoker never does that. He should, because that's a clever use of his abilities. So I'm glad they put that in there. That's kind of good. That's good. But he never does that in the series. He does what he does throughout the episode. He does a bunch of rocket punches. That's what he's actually known for in the series. Now, in terms of anything else, I'm glad they added a scene in which Usopp calls Kaya. I think that's pretty sweet. But it seems like he's leaving her a voice message. I did not know Denden Mushis could leave voice messages. That's a little weird in hindsight. And I think this is the first time in which we see a Denden Mushi payphone. I don't think that's ever been a thing in the series. I don't recall it. So that's cool within itself. I like that. That's fun. I also really do enjoy the sword scene. It's played beat for beat, bar for bar, aside from the shop owner's wife not being there. I like it. I like the introduction of the Meito grade weapons. All that's good. No complaints. The sword play throughout the episode is very good. I like that as well. The only dislike I think I have about this episode is the placement of Sea Stone, because that does take something away from Smoker, because Smoker was a lot of firsts for the series, and we got most of them here except for the use of Sea Stone. That does belong to him. He is the first Logia in the series. He is the first Logia who uses a vehicle in the series. And he is the first example of Sea Stone being used offensively in the series. So taking that away from him does suck. But everything else is cool. I do like that at the end of the episode, we do get his motivations as to why he wants to stop Luffy. Does that matter in the series? Absolutely not, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Oddly, Robin is quite funny throughout because she gives Tashigi an invitation to Baroque Works that's totally out of pocket. But what I forgot to mention is that at the start of the episode, which we didn't get to see, is the Baroque Works organization does have a reason to go after Luffy. And I think that's kind of cool because that wasn't really firmly established in the manga at all. It's mentioned, but that's not like a driving motivation because what we do see is Robin, Miss Valentine's Day, and Mr. Five break into the Marine base in Shellstown and uncover the body of Mr. Seven. So I think that's pretty neat that we do get a follow-up to that because that was never in the manga. It's mentioned in the manga and the anime that Zoro beat Mr. Seven, but it's never actually shown that there were any further repercussions because of that. So that's cool. Robin's powers are very good. I like how they're displayed. We get a little bit of the Kilo fruit, though it's pretty ambiguous. Liking where this is going so far, though. And I think that's it. But with that being said, if you are liking the content so far, click the like button. And if you want to see more from me, click the subscribe button, followed by that bell so you never miss a video. Along with that hype button, please, if you can, because it really does help. And we will be continuing these in the same style, more or less, as I continue to watch and complete more episodes. So with that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede Works.